Hello everybody, my name is Inta and today I will be telling you about budget entering tool using Google Sheets and using Microsoft Excel. Let's talk about today's agenda. First, we are gonna have a look of financial dashboard for budget control so we can understand why we are going to talk about budget entering using different tools and where we can use it afterwards. Then we will have a look how to enter the budget itself, how to get the data in flex.bi using Microsoft Excel and Google spreadsheets. And then we will have a couple examples about entering a simple budget input and a bit more complex budget input. And then we will have a look at some extra features which you can use in Google spreadsheets. So let's start with finding our financial dashboard and checking the budget control. So what you want to do is to go to flex.bi homepage, go to product section, and scroll down to Hansworld integration part, where you can see the links to different dashboards. And to get to our budget control dashboard, we can use any of those links or go to templates section if you have logged in your account. Let me show you. So if you're in the home page, you can also go to your account. And when you have logged in, you can press this template section. And you can find all the dashboards here. And the dashboard we're going to be talking about today is budget control dashboard. So here you can see several reports which tell you a story about budget and the way it's being used in your company in different angles. For example, here you can see all company budget in year 2017. Every month. Here you can see how much budget was used, how much budget is still left, and the yellow line shows what was the planned budget for each of the months. And accordingly, you can see that, for example, in January, we used half of the budget which was planned for this month. And in some months, you can see that the budget was used way more than it was planned. Here are also some reports which show some key performance indicators, like how much of the budget was used per previous year, or how much budget is used in this month. And here you can see that we are 14% over our budget at the moment. Then you can also see some information about different departments. In our company, in this example, we have 3 departments. And for each department, you can see what are the total incomes, total expenses, how much budget is left, and what is the forecast for the budget for this particular month, which would be January 2017. There is also a report about budget, how much budget has been used, how much budget has been left, and what is the actual forecast for each of the months of this year. And here you can see also by department, or you can see by the whole company together for all departments, what are the budgets for each of the accounts, for each of the positions, and you can analyze it in different ways. So this template is available publicly to any of you. You can use it, you can import it in your own account, and you can adjust those reports, or you can build similar reports based on those data. Let me show you how to get this dashboard from this public account to your own account. So here you clicked to export the dashboard, and here's the dashboard definition, which you can copy. And then you go to your own account. You can see that my account is, at the moment, it's empty. I have only data which is coming from my ERP system from Hansaworld. I have no other files. I have no reports at the moment, and I have no dashboard at the moment. So what we do, we create a new dashboard. We press on those three buttons up here in the top right corner, and we press import definition. We paste the definition we copied, and we press OK. And here you can see that we will get all different reports which are used in the dashboard. They will be imported also inside our account. And here you can see that my charts look a little bit different. For example, it doesn't have the budget line, which was here, or it doesn't have a budget left. But that's because I have only data from my ERP system. I don't have a data with my actual budget, which I have planned. And question is how to get those data, so we would have right information here. And here we come to the documentation page, which we have prepared for you. So you can import budgets from Microsoft Excel and from Google Sheets on your own. It's a step-by-step guide, which you can find here. If you're in your account, you can press on this button with question mark and go to documentation page. And here under the templates and solutions section, there is a page called budget import from Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets. Here we have also prepared some templates for you. Here are some Microsoft Excel templates which you can use. There is a blank template where there will be some columns, and here's also a template with sample data. So let's start with this one, because it's going to be a little bit easier to understand it. So we just downloaded this Excel spreadsheet. And here you can see that we have several columns where we are entering different data. Here also in documentation, you can see a step-by-step what you have to do first. First, you have to create a document with header, with information which you want to send to flex.bi. For example, here in the sample, we can see that we want to know a date for which we are giving the budget. We also want to put different accounts on which the budget will be counted on. And we are using 3 different departments in our company for whom we are entering the budget. And we also have a column named budget where we are going to put the data for the budget, obviously. For example, if you have downloaded this document and you need to put your own data, and for example, you don't want to add any more columns, you can just change account names here with the ones that you have from your ERP system. And here you can also put different objects. It can be a department, it can be a store, it can be a hotel, it can be different location, etc. It can be also a project, for example. Here you just take and you change the name of it. And you can also put for each of the departments, you put account numbers which you have, and then you enter different budget. And so you continue for January, and then for February, and here you can also change the date to which you need. For example, you can change it to 2018, you can enter it by months, you can enter it by quarters, and so on. And after you have this file, here in documentation you can find also some tips about what to put where, and how to use, for example, date format, that it should be in this format, not in some others, because that's how flex.bi will understand it the right way. For example, if you have filled all those places and there's no more room left, and you have, for example, a new account number, for example, I have account number 500, and I don't have more place, then I can just add another row. I can copy the same date format, and I'm writing that I have this account number 500, and it's in department 1. And then I plan the budget for this account in this month. But you need also to remember that you will have to add this account for the next month as well, in case if you have a budget for the next month as well for this account, and then you enter another. So, and for example, here in the example, we have just one object, which is department. For example, you can have another object, and then you can add another column. For example, you have employee. And then you enter this another column, and then you have to enter object key the way that you get it from Hansworld. For example, if I have employee 1, then I enter it like this. If I have another way, you adapt it to the way it is. And when you have already filled everything, forgot to mention that, for example, if you have extra rows which you're not using and which are bothering for you to overlook everything, you can also delete rows, you can delete columns, basic editing with Microsoft Excel. And then when you have all the data already in your Microsoft Excel budget sheet, then you have to import it in flex.bi. So how do we do that? Here in documentation, we also have a section where it's explained how to do that. And let me show you also in real life. So to do that, we have to go to your account, go to source data section. And as it is Microsoft Excel file, that means that we will have to upload a file. So we go to source file section. And here we will have to choose where we have saved our Excel. So here I have a file with my budget data. And after I have chosen it, I press upload. And after it's been done, I have to press preview to do some mapping. Mapping will show where each of the columns, each of the data in the columns we want to put where in our cube. As we're going to work with the budget, it's financial data, so we're going to put it in Hansworld Financials cube. And here you can see that we're going to be importing this line as well, but it's not the data that is going to be for every month. So that means that it's a header which tells what is in the rows. So we choose one header row, as we have only one of them. And here we continue having data. So we have a date, which is, of course, the date. And we are going to put it in time section, as it will represent the time. Here we have account number, and flex.bi system is suggesting that we use integer. But as it's the number with which we are not going to do any calculations, then we can use a string instead. So it would understand that we are not going to do any calculations with account numbers. And we are putting this account number in account dimension. And we use a level account as well. It jumps in automatically. So for the department, we again have a string format. And we are going to put it as a department object, as it's going to be our object, right? And here it jumps automatically as well. So about the budget, as it's a number, we can use either integer or decimal. But as we are going to work with the currencies, that means that we will have some decimal numbers after the decimal point. So therefore, we choose better decimal instead of integer. And it's going to be a number with which we are going to do different calculations. For example, we are going to sum together incomes, sum together expenses, and then do some other calculations. So therefore, it's going to be a measure. And here we can also choose a name for our budget, the way it's going to be represented in flex.bi system. As I find it more useful, I will leave it just as it is already, a budget. But you can change it to any other name as well. And I have one extra column in which I actually don't need, so I can just not map it, I can hide it, and I can start my import. And then I press OK. We have to wait a little while till it's uploaded. And now we can check our dashboard and see how it looks. And here you can see that we have already a yellow line, which represents the budget, which we just uploaded from Microsoft Excel file. And here we can also see that we have budget left. Here we have used more budget than we had to, and here we have still some budget left. And here we can see also other reports which are showing overall progress regarding our budget. So that's how you import data using Microsoft Excel. For budget entering, we have different ways to enter the budget. We just saw one of the ways, which is using Microsoft Excel. There are also a way to enter the budget using ERP system or financial management system. And there is also another way to enter the budget using Google Spreadsheets. And let's have a look how to do that. Google Spreadsheets, of course, and Microsoft Excel wouldn't be able to replace professional systems for budget entering, but Google Spreadsheets can be a next step after Microsoft Excel for the budget entering. Now let's have a look at Google Spreadsheets. Here in the same documentation page, which I showed you before, there is another part with different templates in Google Sheets. So here, as well as in Microsoft Excel, we have the same structure of blank template. So let's have a look how it looks. So basically, it's the same table as in Microsoft Excel, but only without any account numbers, without any departments or objects, and without a budget. So it's a clear template where you can input just your own data. And also we have a Google Spreadsheet, which is exact copy of our Microsoft Excel with the same data, with the same columns. And here you can also do the same editing as with Microsoft Excel. You can add new accounts, you can add new objects, you can edit the budget, you can remove account numbers, etc. After we have done editing this Google Sheet document, when we have our budget ready here in Google Spreadsheets, we also will have to import it in our flex.bi account. And to do that, we have to do a little bit different than when we are importing Microsoft Excel files. Google Spreadsheets is going to be not a file, as we are not keeping it on our local computer. It's going to be a different application. And one more thing before we do that. Here you could see that I went from documentation page and I went directly to this template. But as it's a template, it's just an example. And to keep it on your private Google Drive, you will have to make a copy of it. So you do that by pressing this file, and you press make a copy. And here you can enter name of your budget. Let's call it my budget for company with 3 departments. And here I can choose where to put it. So I'll put it in my drive. I'll select this place and I'm going to press it OK. And now this copy is my personal copy and nobody can see it, nobody else can use it, and I can put my own data here. Question is, how do you find this place where we just saved it? To do that, you can just go to your Gmail account. Wait till it loads. And here on the top corner, you can see application icon. And here you can press Google Drive. It's the place where all your Google Sheets are being saved. And here you can see that this is the document which I just made a copy for. And you can see that it's on my drive. So I can always find it here. So now we're ready to import our budget from Google Sheets to flex.bi system. What you have to do, you go to your account, you press source data section, and as I mentioned before, it's going to be a source application, not a source file. So we press add new source application. We find Google Sheets icon here. And we press create. The next step is going to be making connection between your Google account and flex.bi system. So a flex.bi system can read data from your Google spreadsheets and import the budget. Here you can see a warning window that Google has not verified flex.bi yet, but you can still use your Google Sheets and import your budget in flex.bi system. You press on advanced, you press go to flex.bi, and here you can see what flex.bi wants to do with your spreadsheets. So it wants to view and manage your spreadsheets. Basically, it's going to take your data which you have entered in the Google Sheets and use it in different reports in flex.bi. So you press allow, and you wait till a new screen appears. And here you can find the Google Sheet which you want to import in the flex.bi system. So we just made a copy with my budget for 3 departments. So we're using that file. Here you can see that you can choose different sheets. Because here we have just sheet 1, so we are going to be using that one because all the data is there. If you would have 2 different sheets and the information would be in sheet 2, then you can just choose a different sheet here and the data will be imported from this particular sheet in this document. And the plus for the Google Sheets, you can create a regular import. For example, if you know that your budget is changing every month, at the end of the month, then, for example, in the first date of each month, you can re-import the budget again. And you will have a fresh data without having to do anything. But for example, let's say that I have to import this budget only once. And if, for example, the frequency of budget changes is not like regular, you can also do the import manually. And later on, I will show you how to do the manual import for the budget using Google Sheets and also how to do that using Microsoft Excel file as well. So we have set up our Google Sheet import and we press continue. And as we saw before in the Microsoft Excel file, we will have to do some mapping. So flex.bi knows where to put each of the data. So again, we are working with financial data. So it's a financial cube. Here already we have headers in the right place. So the date we are putting in time dimension. Account number was a string, as we are not doing any calculations with it. And we are putting into account dimension. and it's going to be a level of account. Department was our object, so we're putting it object, department object, and here we're using, again, the only option. And the budget was a decimal, and it was a measure as we're going to do some calculations with it. And let's call it a budget, so it's easy to find it in the system. And we start our import, press OK, and we wait till it's finished importing. And it's done. So now we can check in our Analyze tab. Here we have all the reports which we have used also in our dashboard. Let's take a look at this one, for example. Let me show you that you can see that we used our budget, this column called budget, we used it as a measure, remember? So here you can see that in measure dimension, it's under here, imported. And for example, our account is under here. So we have linked those all accounts to, we have linked our budget to all those accounts. And here we can see that we have also object department with all our departments, and we have a link between those two numbers as well. And here in the dashboard, you can see that it looks similar. We have new budgets. We have different numbers of how much budget has left, how much budget is used, and total numbers have also changed accordingly to our Google Sheet data, which we imported just a moment ago. And now let's have a look how it is if you want to import some changes using Microsoft Excel and how you import changes using Google Sheets. So here I have still opened my Microsoft Excel file, and let's say we have our budget changed. Okay, maybe not for January, let's say for May. We have different numbers, so we are making some changes. Let's say our budget grew a lot bigger than we previously thought. Okay, I guess it's enough with the changes. Now we have to save the document. We are saving as an Excel file. And we are giving it another, no, we're keeping the same title, so it would be easier. Let me check. Yeah, so we're giving it the same title. And yeah, let's save it on the desktop. And after we have done that, we have to import this Microsoft Excel document again in flex.bi system. So to do that, we go to source data section. As it's a file, we're going to source file section. And we have to choose file again from the place we have saved it. And we upload it. If you want to import the data over the old data, then you have to give the exact same title as it was before. Let me check the title. Yeah, I have one more plus left and one more. Yep. Okay, I have previous one here, and let's change again. So we have exactly the same name as before. Let's try that again. So we had it here, we have this one, and we try to upload it again. And here you can see that it's offering to replace the existing file, and we are going to do that as the old file is not valid anymore. So we are importing a new one. You can see that it was replaced. We can press preview, and here you can see that the mapping of the all columns has left from the previous file, and we can just start import and press OK. And we have to wait a minute to get our new data inside the system, and we can check in dashboard how it looks at the moment. So we saw that we changed in May planned budget, and here you can see that the planned budget has skyrocketed up there, and you can see the change. So that was how you do the editing using Microsoft Excel. So now let's have a look how to do that using our Google Sheets. So we go back to our Google Drive and our file for the budget, and let's say that we want to change something in June. So let's put some big numbers so we can see the difference better. And let's say that would be enough change. So we have changed only a couple of the rows, but we want to see those changes also on flex.bi system. To import the new data using Google Sheets, we have to import those data again. So we go to source data section and source application section, and here you can see this Google Sheets document which we imported a while ago. And all you have to do is press this button, import, and the new data will be imported automatically. You don't have to press any other buttons. So you can see that it's a bit easier than with Microsoft Excel. And then you can go to dashboards. And here you can see that now the June is also up. So that's how you import changes from Microsoft Excel, and also how you import changes from Google Sheets. About some pluses that Google Sheets have is that with Google Sheets you can edit your budget anywhere where you have internet connection. It is also very easy to be edited by different people, basically in the same time. There can be several people working on the budget, for example, for each of the positions. For example, here you can see that there's income from media, so one person can be editing this, another person can be editing income from services, etc. It also, as you can see, that the Google Sheets have automatic imports, which you can schedule for the certain time. And also the manual import is slightly easier than Microsoft Excel import. I will show you in a moment a couple extra features which you can use to tune up your Google spreadsheet budget file, and have some extra features which can make budget entering more interesting. Before I show you some extras, I will show you also one other template which can be used for companies who are bigger than 3 departments and let's say 10 accounts. Let's assume that you have a company which has 15 departments, and for each department there is 200 accounts. So if you would use this template, of course you can use it, and you would be entering the data in the same way. But imagine if you have 50 accounts for each of the departments, each of the 15 departments. You can imagine yourself that this Excel file would be quite longer, and therefore we invented a little bit more convenient way to enter the budget. So let's have a look at the other template. So here you can see that it looks different from the previous one, but basically you are entering the same information just in a different way. Here you will have to, if you have, let's say, 15 departments, you will have to create a separate Google spreadsheet for each of the departments. And here, for example, we will be entering a budget for Department 1. And for Department 1, we have all accounts that are related to this department. And here you can see that we are going to put a budget for each of the accounts, for each of the months, here in those lines. So let's say we're entering some data. And that means that for this account, for January, February, and March, we have a budget. So let's say we have some sales in videos, but we are planning it only in March. So we can, on March and let's say May, so we are entering the data only where it's necessary. So here you can plan the budget for even more accounts in, I guess, more comfortable way. And it's also easier to overview the whole process of the budget for each of the accounts. But here it's just entering part which is made this way. But in the background, this Google spreadsheet is converting the data that you're entering in the same format as you saw before in our previous Google spreadsheet and also Excel file. Here you can see the same date, you can see the object, you can see the account. Here you can see the budget which I just entered. Also here you can see 2000 and here's a 2000. And so it's going through all the months from all the accounts, from all objects, and converting them in the format that it's easier for flex.bi to understand and to use for import. But if you have to import this document for yourself, again, you have to make a copy. And you, let's say it's like my budget for department with many accounts. I'm saving it into my Google Drive again. And I press OK. So this is my copy at the moment. And after I'm done with it, after I'm done with it, I can export all those data to flex.bi system. And how to do that? Because it looks a little bit different than the previous one, right? To do that, you have to go to your account. You go again to your source data section. You add a new application. It's going to be a different document. You go to Google Sheets. You press Create. Okay, I have a trial plan which allows just 2 data sources. So probably you have a better plan which allows you more source data applications. Let's say I don't need this one, so I will delete it. And so we can use a new one. And so we chose Google Sheets and we press Create. We again have to allow the access of flex.bi to our Google Sheet so we can read the data. And now we're going to change, we're going to use my budget for department with many accounts, this file. And as I mentioned before, in this document, we have 2 sheets. One is for budget entering, another is a convert to flex.bi. So to import the data from this document, you have to choose from which sheet is going to be reading the data. And as I mentioned before, it's convert to flex.bi. It's converting it to a format which is easier for flex.bi to understand. Therefore, we are going to use this sheet to import the data from. So here we choose convert to flex.bi, and we choose our regular import frequency, and we press continue. And again, we will have to do some mapping. And yes, as we were doing before, it's going financials. And basically, you can see that it's the same data, same columns, same mapping. And here we can see that we have some extra columns which actually we don't need in our flex.bi system, so we can leave them unmapped. So if we map those, it was a department, and it was department object, and here was, oh sorry, this was an account, and this was our budget, so it was a measure. And those two columns we don't need, so we can leave them without a mapping, and they won't be imported in flex.bi system. And then we press, again, as we did before, we press start import, and OK. And the data from this new Google Sheet will be imported in flex.bi system, and in dashboard section, you will be able to see new data there. So this is a template which you can find also in our documentation page. And use this template to enter a budget for bigger companies, if you have more accounts or if you have more objects. But also this template can be used even if you have one department and you have several accounts. You can also use this instead of this format if you find it more convenient and more comfortable for you. So there's no conditions about that. And as I mentioned before, when I was telling about what are the pluses for using Google Spreadsheets, I mentioned that there are some extra options, extra features which you can use while using Google Spreadsheets. By the way, all those templates are available for you. You can find them in our documentation page. You can find the blank ones and also with some data, so you can play around with them and try to import them in your account and see how it goes with your own data. So here is another template with some new fields, which you can see on your right side. So this document we have prepared based on one of the user stories, based on one of our customers. Those were actual things that our customer wanted to make the budget entering more convenient for them. And we were thinking that maybe those extra functions would be useful for you as well. So we thought to tell you a little bit about them, so you could use them in case you find them useful. So let's start with first things first. So imagine that you're the one who has to enter the budget. So let's call you a budget owner, and you're the one who's going to be putting all the numbers here in the green fields as we did in the previous file. And this particular Google Sheet, with all its functions, it will allow you to get different notifications. And to do that, you will need to put your email address here. Let's say I'm going to put my address, which will mean that I will get different notifications about which I will tell you in next couple minutes. So first of the features is, after I have finished entering this budget, let's say that's it, that's my budget. And if I have people, like I have a manager who needs to approve my budget, which I have entered, which I have planned. For example, I have a CEO who has to approve the budget, and I have financial director, which has to approve the budget before I start using it everywhere. Then, by pressing this button, I can send a message to them telling that I have made a budget. Please check it and confirm it, and so I can use it further on. But you would think, okay, I entered my email address here, but how it knows your CEO's and financial director's email address, right? So here under convert to flex.bi section, we can see that we have same columns as before, and there is some extra on the right side. So this section here, which is selected now, this is a section where you can write email texts for the notifications, and you can also put here email addresses to which you're going to send those notifications. Let's say that I would like to send notifications to our CEO. So let's say he has this email address, and also financial director. So financial director at flex.bi. So those are two people to whom I want to send notification that I have entered a new budget, and they have to confirm it. So here on the right side, you can see a text of the email which they will get. So basically it says, hello, planned budget for this object has been entered. Please visit this URL address to confirm or reject the budget. So your CEO or financial director will receive this message in their mail, and they can just press on the link which is provided in the email, and they will go exactly to this document. They will see all the numbers which you have entered, and for them we have prepared also some buttons which makes it easier for them to confirm, reject the budget which you have entered. We have also created a comment section. For example, let's say that CEO has rejected the budget, and you can see that when I press the button, there was a new pop-up window which is asking for authorization. So all those buttons have scripts under them which allows them to do some action, and this script is asking for a permission to work in this particular document. So when you're using it first time, you will have to give it access. So the script can use this document and do some changes to it. So again, you have to press advanced and go to budget entering. And here you can see that it wants to view your spreadsheet. And here, as I told before, that when you press a button, you get a notification. Therefore, it wants to send an email to you. So you press allow, and which grants access to Google Spreadsheet scripts to work with this document. And here we press the button reject. So you can see also in a screen that it's been rejected by CEO. And let's say, for example, that financial director confirmed it. So you'll see that he confirmed. And for example, here in the comments section, CEO can write explanation why he has rejected or some comment. For example, March budget is too big. So when I, as a budget owner, get this notification to my email when CEO is rejected, then I can come to this URL and I can see that there is a comment about the March budget. So I can do something about it. I can also see overall budget here up. So it works that if both of those approvers have approved the budget, its status is confirmed. If one of them is rejected, then it tells rejected. For example, there can be situations that CEO or financial director has pressed a button by accident, and they still want to think about this budget later on, so they can clear the status. And they can come back later on and do the necessary confirmation or rejection. And there is one more feature which you could use, and it's hidden here on the right side. Here you can see a field which is currently empty. But when you press this submit button, there appears some code. And what that means? That means that, for example, if you have those 15 departments and for each of them you have created this document, that means that you will have to import each of the Google Sheets as we saw before. So for each of the documents you will have to create the mapping. And it's okay if you have 1 or 2 files, it's quite easy and it's quite fast to do that manually. But if you have to do that for 15 or even more files, then it can take quite some time. And therefore, we have created this import definition script. Import definition script, which can be used to make automatic mapping. So, for example, let's say I want to import this particular Google spreadsheet to our flex.bi system. So what I do is double-click this field, I select it all, and I press copy. And then I go to my account. Let me delete this first. And I'm importing the data. I'm importing this Google Sheet document, again, in flex.bi system. So I use add new source application, Google Sheets. And here you can see a field called import definition, which is called similarly here, import definition. So we copy this code and we paste it here. And we press create. We again need to grant access to flex.bi system to access our Google account. We allow it. And here you can see that it didn't ask for a file name. It didn't ask about which sheet to use. It didn't ask about regular imports. And it went straight to this mapping place. But here you can see also that all the mapping has been done already in your place. So all you need to do to import this is to press start import and press OK. And that's it. So you can see that it's much easier than doing a manual mapping on your own. So this is the code that does the magic for you. And the magic is not just pure magic. So if, for example, you have a different department or you have different accounts and so on, this Google Sheet, as the previous ones as well, you have to adjust it to your company. You have to adjust your own account numbers. You have to adjust dates. You have to adjust your objects, etc. And also this import definition should be adjusted to your company, to your particular case. And here in the convert to flex.bi section, you can see that here is this magical code, which is built from different parts, and it's put together in this one field, which you can see also here, which you're copying and using later on. So this all needs some adjustment according to your company, according to your needs. It's not going to be just copy-paste for everybody. Those are some scripts which we have created for a certain customer and which can be useful for others, at least we think so. There's a lot more options available in with Google Scripts. And you can find all the information in Google, and they have quite wide documentation about their Google scripts. There's a lot of different examples as well, which and how you can use to build your own solutions. For example, your own buttons, your own, I don't know, notifications, and so on. So one more thing which I wanted to show you is that you can change a date here. For example, here it's a date of budget entering. Let's say that I'm entering the budget today. So we are in February 22nd. So I press this, and that's the budget entering date. And this date is showing up here in convert section in this column. This is useful if, for example, you want to use different budget versions. If, for example, I have entered my original budget in the beginning of the year in January, and now it's the end of the February, and there have been some changes, then I can enter a new budget. I can enter a new budget enter date, and I can save the previous budget also in the system and compare them, for example. There's also availability to protect different places in the Google Sheets. As you noticed before, there is a protection to access this convert flex.bi because in this page there are a lot of different formulas which are coming from the previous page, so it's converted automatically. And also, for example, if you're worried that somebody else could press those buttons, not just CEO or not just financial director, or they could mix buttons between them, then you can use protection. For example, you can show that those cells will be available for editing just for a certain person with certain email. So only that person can come in this document and press on those buttons or write a comment there. And only financial director can access those selected cells. Only he can press those buttons. And for example, you can give, let's say for a project manager who's entering the budget, he's able to fill only those ones with the green fields. You can give access that he can enter those, but he can't enter, for example, total sums where there is a formula there. So he don't accidentally delete it and see the wrong data here. For example, you can lock and protect any cells that you want. And I would like to say thank you for attending this webinar. I hope you find it useful, and see you in the next one.